Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It is 2 o'clock sharp, so we're going to get started with the Zone 4114 BDC mid-month training session for June 2018. As you know, the title this month is using Facebook's CRM matching tool to connect to your customers. As a courtesy, I've muted all the lines. We will have a Q&A session at the end. Please feel welcome to use the chat function along the way to submit questions, and we'll answer those as they come on board. And again, as a reminder, the session is being recorded. I'm very happy to take a moment to introduce today's guest presenter from Facebook, Mr. Bob Lanham. He is the retail lead automotive, again, for Facebook. So Bob, give me a half a second, and I'm going to turn the screen over to you, sir. Okay, Bob, you should have the option now to click and go.
This is fantastic, and thanks everyone for allowing me to join your monthly call. Kevin, just give me a quick heads up that you guys can see my screen.
I cannot at this time. Hang on one second. I think you have to click something, Bob. Yeah, I think you have to click.
It says it's sharing.
Okay, there we go. You're in, man. Looking good.
Okay. You can see it. You can see it now, everyone, or yes, Kevin at least.
Yes, indeed, we can see it.
Perfect. So I'm just going to jump right in. Thank you again to everyone that has taken a few moments out of your day to spend with me. Kevin, at any time, if there seems to be a lag in what I'm presenting in the slides, please jump in and just give me a heads up. I'm very familiar with GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar, but I have learned at times, depending on connection, there tends to be lags. I just want to jump in and talk about a very timely topic, which is Facebook being in the news. I just want to make sure you all understand why we have been in the news, and the main reason why Facebook is in the news has nothing to do with anybody breaching our servers or breaking into our servers to capture illegal data. It's very important that I let you all know that there seems to be a misconception in the marketplace that Facebook servers have been hacked and people's personal data have been compromised, and that's not the case at all. What had happened is a gentleman had created an app where people opted in to use that app by using Facebook's sign-in feature, and by agreeing to sign in through Facebook, they not only were able to capture profile data, simply interests that profiles tend to display, but their friends. But then what had happened from there is that this app developer then sold that data to a third party by the name of Cambridge Analytica, which is out of policy. Sorry about that, guys. I got muted somehow, so I unmuted myself. So, Kevin, hopefully you can still see everything. Kevin, we good?
Can you hear me now, Bob? You look good.
All right, guys, I'm just going to keep on rolling. Somehow the system auto-muted me. I've unmuted myself. Recently, one of your peers recently stated in an automotive news speech that there's a brutal reality confronting us, and we need a new business model. This was Don Flo from the Flo Automotive Group, who was talking to his peers, a bunch of dealers, talking about the state of the retail industry. And what was interesting is what he was talking about, which was creating and recreating value, or capturing that value. He went along to talk about margins and how margin erosion or the decline of margins was very strong today, and how do we combat that issue. He went along to talk about how the business model needs to change, and we need to be more efficient in how we work on our business to understand how we can increase that margin. He actually says we need to be as efficient as Amazon and as fun as Apple. Then he actually went into driving value or creating value through personalization and optimization. And what he was talking about was ensuring and creating loyalty, because loyal customers are the most profitable customers. And as he was talking about loyalty through personalization and optimization, I thought about a path to purchase statistic that we've had in the marketplace for a number of years that directly related to what he was talking about. And what we did at Facebook a number of years ago was measure thousands of people who purchased a vehicle, but more importantly, we're able to break out why they repeated purchasing from a brand that they already had an experience with or had communication with. And you would hope brand reputation or fashion plays a role into why they repeated a buy from a brand that they already had a relationship with. But advertising was the second largest reason as to why they repurchased from a brand, again, that they've probably been emailed or sent mailers for the past number of years. But a loyalty strategy was the number one reason as to why they repurchased from a brand that they already had a relationship with. Now, some of you may be saying, what is a loyalty strategy as it relates to automotive? We're not Starbucks so that for every fourth vehicle the person buys, the fifth one's free. So what is loyalty? Is it lease pull ahead? Is it a retention bonus? Is it your service, right? The back of your dealership. And we'll get into that in a little bit, as service to sales strategies have started to become extremely popular on Facebook, which we'll get into the CRM side. Then he went into making every aspect of the retail business 100% digital. And what he was talking about was the process, making how we communicate with the manufacturer, how we communicate with the banks, etc. It needs to be completely digital. And then he just went into the ownership of vehicles and how we went from needing to buy, people used to be able to buy 100% through cash or only through cash to these subscription models that are popping up. But ultimately what he was talking about was future-proofing the dealership, ensuring that there's enough value for the reason for these dealerships to exist, or more importantly, his dealerships to exist, and he's got about 32 of them. But there's one thing he completely missed, in my opinion, that he didn't talk about at all. And some of you are probably wondering, okay, I saw that video, wonder what Bob is thinking about. But he never talked about media or media spend. I have the privilege or the opportunity to present at 20 group meetings. I've done over 100 20 group meetings from all brands. And 20 groups are where 20 non-competitive dealers get together and talk about their P&L. And what's really interesting is the one key takeaway I've learned is that marketing tends to be a dealership's second or third largest expenditure. So what you buy and how you buy it 100% plays a role in those margins that Don Flo is complaining about. And interestingly enough, I actually emailed Don Flo and told him that he missed the mark on marketing, and I actually met with him last week. So you'll actually be seeing some case studies on his speech following here in the next couple of months. So what I said to him is, how do I apply the same urgency you have for digitizing the process to the same urgency to the second largest expenditure you have, which is marketing? Here's what the data is telling us, and here's what almost every 20 group will tell you. The most profitable dealerships in the country spend more on digital versus digital. Now, some of you who are on the call, maybe you're digital marketing managers, and you're nodding your heads because this is nothing new to you. I'm not here to say you can't be profitable spending more on traditional versus digital, but what I am here to say is that data has proven that dealerships who spend more on digital are more profitable. Some of you are probably laughing at this quote because we've seen it for a number of years, but it's more relevant today than it ever has been, which says half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. Folks, it's 2018. If you don't know your ROI on your second largest expenditure, I highly suggest we evaluate that, because we can 100% tell you how much money you spent on our platform, how many people you reached, and how many sales came about that marketing spend. In fact, we have a number of case studies out in the marketplace that now tell us this. We've moved beyond digital proxies or vanity metrics like clicks and click-through rates, etc., and now measure media spend people reached to the number of vehicles sold and or closed repair orders if it's a service campaign. This is a public case study from Kelvin Motors. Here's a case study we did with a manufacturer where their after-sales division wanted to help drive revenue for their dealerships in 3 states, Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. They put together a simple 3-pack oil change message. They targeted those customers in those 3 states for 1 month, and they spent $23,000. What was interesting is they didn't target customers that already had a relationship with the dealership or still continue to go to the dealership. They targeted customers who have been inactive or haven't been back to the dealership for 9+ months. Well, if I'm just looking at digital metrics or vanity metrics, I'd tell you, hey, we delivered 3 million impressions at a cost per 1,000 or CPM of $6. We had almost 10,000 clicks at a cost per click of $2. Hey, pretty decent. So I guess the campaign succeeded, or maybe it didn't if you were looking at a specific cost per click. But again, these are just vanity metrics. What I was able to tell this OEM, though, was that we reached 856,000 people, and we had a return on ad spend of $2.5 million, which means they spent $23,000 to drive $2.5 million to their dealers. And they were even actually able to break it down to average parts and labor for each RO. This is what we can do today, and this is where we need to drive the business. So for those of you that are digital only folks, or any GMs or sales managers on the call, I have a challenge for you. You know, I'll never say cut your traditional media to completely zero. I do see that there's value in traditional media, and we can debate on what that value is. But if you're still spending heavily on a particular traditional media platform like direct mail or a billboard or TV, just try this challenge. Take that traditional media spend and cut it in half. Just say you're only going to spend half of that for 1 month. And with the half that you just cut, take half of that and put it to your bottom line, or put it to your dealership's bottom line. You're going to see that you probably don't need to spend it. With that other half, I'm going to go through 4 strategies, including CRM. Give us a shot. We've proven to work. This is why we've put these strategies together. And we can help you stop that decline of margin. I promise you we can help you with increasing your margins across the board. I'm going to cruise through this section because I really want to get to not only the 4 strategies, but get to how you can import CRM databases with a simple click of a button. But I think we all would agree mobile has completely changed how we do business. And if you don't have a mobile-first strategy, or at least discuss a mobile-first strategy, hopefully you'll take away from this webinar to have one. You know, in 2005, the Vatican needed to inaugurate a new pope, Pope Benedict, and this was the scene. And to put in perspective how mobile has changed the game, 8 very short years later, the Vatican needed to inaugurate a new pope because Pope Benedict got sick, and this was the scene. And this was 2013. This was 5 years ago. So think about this being the scene 5 years ago and the scene today, and how we've gone literally 100% mobile. In fact, in the 10 seconds it took me to talk about those slides, 70 new people across the world got online for the first time. And how they got online was through their mobile device, through cellular service. They didn't get online through broadband or running cable to their house. Every second, 7 people get online for the first time, and it's through their mobile device. We've seen our minutes or hours per mobile dramatically increase. In 2017, it was 3 hours we spent on our mobile device. They're saying now it's probably closer to 5. We spend 5 hours a day on our mobile device. And because of this, we now can consume content at a much, much faster rate. On desktop, people can see content and remember content in less than 3 seconds. But on a mobile device, it's less than 2 seconds. And what this has caused is a highly, highly distracted consumer. Think about your own mobile behavior use. In fact, on average, each of us will click our phone or check our phone 3,000 times a day. In aggregate here in the US, it's 8,000 times a day that we all will check our mobile phone. When we look at attention spans, and this is really important to understand effectiveness of your creative on mobile, in 2000, the average attention span was 12 seconds. In 2016, it was 8 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. But your future customer, especially for Chevrolet, and I'm not talking about your millennials, I'm talking about your Gen Z. Your Gen Z's attention span is less than 3 seconds. So when we think about putting together 15 or 30-second spots, do you think Gen Z or even your millennials will watch your 15 or 30-second spot? Most likely not. In fact, last year in 2017, ComScore, one of the largest online measurement companies, told us that 5 seconds was the max that millennials had as an attention span. So think about this as you create creative. But this isn't anything that we didn't know. In fact, to go back to that same path to purchase study that we had of the stat that I showed you earlier, we measured, again, thousands and thousands of people who went from, I need to buy a car, to actually buying that car. And we measured the time frame between interest and purchase. And what we found out was the majority of people went from interest to purchase in 31 days or less. And when we drill a little bit deeper into that majority, you all can see the generational breakdown on the screen. They went from interest to purchase in 7 days or less. The purpose of this slide is you need to always be advertising, because you never know when someone's going to get into that interest phase. And when they do, you have a very, very small window to close them. I'll give you another anecdote. I work with a third-party agency that has inventory feeds for a large number of manufacturers. And what they've been able to look at is the time that inventory has gone into the feed to the time that piece of inventory has left the feed, meaning it's been sold. And they're seeing an average in-feed to out-of-feed piece of inventory go in 3 weeks or less. So within 3 weeks or less, that vehicle has been sold. You know, in less than about 15 months or so, you know, they're saying that 85% of customer interactions will be handled without a human. And this is extremely important for those of you that have BDCs or processes that try to cater to today's people who don't have a whole lot of time to spend in your dealership and want to be able to handle a lot of communication over their mobile device. Bots. I'm sure some of you have been either pitched bots, may use a bot, or exploring a bot. For those of you that don't know what a bot is simply a machine being able to handle the conversation. So imagine you want to target all of the people that bought a vehicle from you last month, and you want to target them with an ad to schedule their first oil change, to start that loyalty strategy for your dealership. Well, a bot could actually schedule that oil change for you, and the person would never need to call your dealership. The bot can look at your available times. The bot can actually display how much it will cost. The bot can actually even handle payment, so you can get them to prepay for their service. And the benefit of getting people to prepay is they're obviously committed. Now, I won't tell you that this case study is from a bot, but this case study is where This particular Chevy dealer, instead of driving to their website, they actually drove to a Facebook Messenger conversation where actually one of the daughters in the screen handled the conversation. And the whole concept was, instead of driving them to their web page, they wanted to drive them to an active conversation so that they could instantly respond to any questions that the person might have on the advertisement that they were displaying. And what they found was that 75% of the conversations that they had turned to a sale. This potentially, or probably already is, just a new way to communicate. So think about this as you want to personalize and optimize your communication with your current or potential customers. We also know that people who have personalized experiences with a brand will tend to pay more or be willing to pay more for that experience. So as you personalize your experiences, know that you actually might be able to increase margin simply by catering to your users today. A fun stat to put this on perspective: 80% of what people watch from Netflix comes through their recommendation engine, which is personal and tailored to each individual. And that recommendation engine is worth $21 billion. So personalize how you communicate with folks. If you're familiar with Rocket Mortgage, in the mortgage industry, they've been able to do this. You can now apply, be approved through your mobile device for the largest purchase that you'll ever make within seconds. And this is a highly regulated industry. So Rocket Mortgage has been able to create a behavior or create an experience where people can borrow tens or hundreds or millions of dollars instantly through their mobile device. And what this has caused is now an expectation. So if the first largest or the largest amount of money that you'll borrow can be handled through your mobile device, what do you think the second largest purchase that people will make can? You got to be able to get to this point. We've been telling you since 2015 the mobile device is the #1 or primary device used to research their automobile. I'm not here to say they don't use their desktop, but the mobile device is the primary device, and this is in everyone's path to purchase. I'll always give Google credit where credit is due, because we drive a lot of actually Google activity, but they have a great study called Winning the Moments Before the Dealership. If you want to be one of the few visits that a consumer makes to the dealership, invest in mobile. They've studied this very, very heavily. In fact, I've got an interesting chart to show you. I was a part of a presentation for another brand where a search engine was actually presenting this slide. And this slide is simply showing specific vehicle activity for this particular OEM in a region, and the black bar are people that are in their co-op program, and the dealers that are not in their co-op program. And I was just sitting there listening to this search engine representative present this, and a dealer raised their hand and asked their question and said, what happened on the far right? Why was there an uptick in search activity? The particular rep actually had no idea. But the regional marketing manager actually stood up and said, I have the answer for you. We actually ran a Facebook heavy up during that campaign. Here's my point of this slide. You can't look at your marketing in a silo. You can't pull down a report from Google Analytics or Facebook or any other provider and then nitpick it individually, because media will actually work together. In fact, we will drive on average a 10% incremental lift in search activity. So when you run a Facebook campaign, you might not see the results in Facebook, but you're going to see the results when you look at your search. So where do we fit in? Where do we fit into the car buying experience? Or more, can you utilize our platform to drive more sales? Key takeaway from us is we're one of the world's largest media platforms. Businesses buy media space from us. They don't buy social space. Social simply our functionality. And what's interesting when you look at consumer behavior is we're one of the world's largest media platforms, and we're almost 100% mobile. 93% of our usage is done on a mobile device. That's a major consumer behavior change, which is why you need to have a mobile first strategy. I won't go in detail our global numbers, but these are our global numbers. We're in the billions. Instagram is expected to surpass 1 billion by the end of the year if it hasn't already, and we just haven't publicly announced it. But the numbers that I love to give you guys is we have 218 million adults, 18 plus on our platform every single month. And in fact, we have 166 million adults 18 plus on our platform every single day, coming back to us 14 to 20 times a day. If you want to understand what the population of adults 18 plus here in the US, it's around 275, give or take, based on the last census a number of years ago. So you know that we have the majority of adults 18 plus on our platform daily. Here's Instagram's number, 175 million people monthly, about 75 million a day, coming back to us 10 to 15 times a day. These are very powerful numbers as it relates to trying to reach people who are in market for a car. And in fact, simple math will now tell you we have the majority of people who either are in market for a car and or own a car. And we have a number of different ways for you to be able to target them, including your CRM. All right, so let's get into what to buy and how to buy it. I will follow up with Kevin with our playbook. It's a simple PDF. We just finished a creative playbook last week that I'll actually also send to Kevin. The creative playbook simply explains how you can use some free apps in the marketplace to create some very impactful creative free at charge, because they are free apps. In fact, we work with these free apps very closely, which is why we've pushed them in our playbook. But before I get to our ad platform, I just want to make sure, and some of you I know this, but so many times I've done a webinar or a presentation where a dealer has said, hey, nice presentation, know that I have a kid, make a post on my page every week so I've got you covered. Post is not utilizing Facebook advertising. Making a post on on your Facebook page probably utilize 1/1,000,000th of the power of our ad platform. Use your page for branding, not selling. People are going to research what to buy. People are going to research where to buy their vehicle just as much as what they're going to buy. So ensure that you're using your page to tell them why you should buy from you versus the dealership that might not be too far up the road. I know some of you know this. I just wanted to recap. So here are the 4 strategies that we've proven to work over and over again. And when you run at least 3 of the 4, you're going to see some very, very efficient and effective advertising. And the first one is a why buy here. It's a brand strategy. Why should I buy from dealer A versus dealer B that might be just a few miles up the road? If you're sitting with a targeted group of people who are researching where they want to buy, this is where you would tell them why they need to buy from you. Then we have what's called a ready to buy strategy. Retargeting all of those people that are on your website, creating lookalikes, and I'll go into detail in a bit, and ensuring that they come to you to purchase that automobile that they can visibly see in the ad. Then it's CRM, 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 what we call customers for life. For retention, for your loyalty through service, and then obviously simply just to drive service. Think lease maturity lists, think equity mining, think service. Very easy to do. And the last one is events. So let's get into why you should have a why buy here or a brand strategy. We know that dealership visits have dramatically declined. When I sold cars in the mid-90s, the average person would visit up to 5 dealerships of the same brand before they purchased. But today in 2018, we know it's less than 2 is what they're visiting in person. So you need to have an online brand strategy to tell the person why you should buy from them. It could be the fact that you have the largest dealership. You've just put a ton of money into the dealership, the largest inventory, a coffee shop. You have alliances with local celebrities or enthusiasts or pro teams. This Honda dealership was simply promoting that they have a kids room. So if you're a mom or dad like me and you want to come in for an oil change, for a 45-minute to an hour oil change, look where you can bring your kids. So hopefully it's not as stressful trying to entertain them in a lobby, and or your independents don't even really have lobbies. So think of your value propositions as to why someone would want to come to you. I love to show this slide. We're all familiar with the Gallup poll, I hope, that measures honest and ethics. If I was in the room, I'd ask you all, does anybody want to guess where we sit? We sit below Congress. Now, I had a dealer, actually a GM dealer, stand up and actually yell at me once for presenting this slide, basically saying, hey, I run a really good business. I've got really good CSI scores. I think this is inappropriate for you to deliver. Well, this slide is actually, and these stats are from December 2017. And this slide isn't to say that your businesses were poorly run. What this slide is telling us is that we have a bad brand perception in the marketplace. And we need to change that perception, not only for the vehicles that we're selling, but for our retail establishments for selling them. Because you all do run great businesses. So make sure you advertise that. But one of the other things that we accidentally learned was that when you run a brand strategy, it will also help your direct response strategy, or that strategy where you're looking to drive VDPs or to drive clicks or conversions on your website. I'll explain that again, because for those of you that figure this out, you're going to drive some very, very quality and effective lower funnel actions. When you run a brand strategy, a why buy here, while at the same time running a strategy where you're looking for engagement, you can actually drive more engagement at a lower cost. And we've executed this a number of times and have a number of studies to prove that out. Why does it work? I've spent a number of months of trying to explain to the retail world out there why this works. So I want you to think about the sales process and what the most important aspect of the sales process is. And the most important aspect of the sales process is what we've all known for many, many years to be what's called the meet and greet, the first impression, the hello, right? There's a number of scripts onto how to handle the meet and greet. They actually say the best closers are better openers, because if you create that great first impressions, the people are going to spend the next couple of hours with you, listening to you, appreciating your feedback, so that when it comes down to the asking for the sale, which we're all expected to do, you're going to have a higher close rate. Here, I'll flip it and say, here's what the average dealer does online as it relates to the meet and greet. Imagine if I'm selling cars and a prospective customer walks into my showroom and I say, hi, welcome to Lanham Chevrolet. May I have your name, number, your email address, and are you buying from me today? I would never be trained to do that, because we all know the person would turn around and walk away. But if you only run lead generation ads, or only run advertising where you're expecting a click or a convert, that's essentially the same thing. Say hello first. Tell them why they should click or why they should come to you to purchase their vehicle. In fact, we tested this with this Hyundai dealership, where they ran a brand campaign, a bunch of videos, and then they followed it up with actual pictures of inventory on their lot. So they brought the meet and greet online, and what they found out was they had a 2.5x or a 250% increase in website conversions. They had a 24% increase in overall traffic to their website, and according to them, they had a 32% increase in sales. They brought the meet and greet online. The ready to buy strategy, retargeting people that are on your web page via the Facebook pixel, adding lookalikes, which are simply Facebook looking at the people that are on your website and finding people within a 1% error rate that look like those people, and retargeting them with actual inventory pictures on your lot. This is very, very, very easy to do, and it's a do-it-yourself product. Some of you are probably saying, well, what happened to all that third-party data from Polk and Experian that I've heard you're removing from the system? And we are. So come August 15th, you no longer can book buys against all of the in-market data that is in our system, which is why it's so important that you retarget against your web page and you create lookalikes against them. And I will tell you, because we've run a number of tests, this is actually, you'll have a better return on your investment on those two, retargeting lookalikes, than you will any third party. What is retargeting? You all know what retargeting is. It's simply looking at people that are on your website. We match them back to profiles, so when they come back on our platform, you can deliver a very relevant message. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what lookalikes are simply Facebook looking at your CRM data if you choose to upload it, looking at the people that are on your website, matching them back to profiles, then taking into millions of data points and finding people that look like the people you want them to look like. All we're doing is building a prospect list that looks exactly like your customers. This is free of charge, and it's a click of a button. Like I said, we are going to be removing the IHS data from Oracle, but know that it will be coming back. I don't have what the process will be for the retail level yet, but I do know that we're already in the process of finding a new way for this data to come back. So more to come. All right, customers for life, CRM, CRM, CRM. Many of you probably didn't realize that we're one of the world's largest CRM distribution platforms. We can take a database, or more importantly, you can take a database, upload it into Facebook, we match it back to our profiles, and an audience is created that only you can target against. So think about lease maturity lists, think about equity mining, think about your fixed operations. You know exactly who you sold to and what you sold and when. So ensure you retarget those people to come into your dealership for service and start that loyalty strategy. And I'll actually go into our system to show you how to do it. But CRM is easily our fastest growing strategy from our retail network on Facebook. Think of sold, not serviced, service to sales strategies, etc. How does it work? Again, you're going to upload your first-party data. Whether we have third-party data, we simply match them back to profiles, and an audience is created that only you can target against. All we need is a phone number and an email address. And know that it's encrypted. It's called hashed data. It gets instantly deleted among match. We do nothing with it. Paragon Honda wanted to test out an equity mining campaign. That also was a service to sales campaign. They looked at all of the Honda Accords 5 years prior that they sold, and they simply delivered a $10 oil change message to just that equity mining list. So the goal was to drive them into the dealership. The dealership was triggered, very old school strategy. A new car salesperson was called, and while that car was getting serviced, a new car sales representative was able to show them a deal that would be able to get them into a newer vehicle at or reasonably around the same price. We also call that trading keys in the industry. Here's what we found out. They had almost a 50% redemption rate on the coupon. They saved up to 80% on the exact same campaign that they would have run against direct mail. We don't have print costs. We don't have postage costs. We don't have data costs. They traded keys with 4 people at $80 a vehicle. This campaign cost $300. The cost of the campaign is determined by the size of your database. Dolly Nissan wanted to simply drive service appointments through our platform, so they target a CRM database. They actually used our lead ad platform that actually integrated into their CRM, and they booked 201 appointments through this ad unit. So it can be done. Advertising, like I said, is the second largest reason as to why someone repurchased. And then events. We're going to be the largest media platform in any marketplace, so use our event-based ads and our event-based platform to drive traffic to not only the events you host, but to the events that you may have sponsored. And then finally, I'll close with, it's no longer about clicks or click-through rates or cost per click. It's all about sales. Let's measure how many people we reached and how many people drove sales. Galpin Motors, this is all they measure, and we have a number of case studies on Galpin Motors where they just simply measured their ad spend, people reached, and vehicles sold and closed repair orders. Huntington Beach, the same thing. It doesn't matter how big or small your dealerships are. It's a click of a button as to how we can measure sales. I'll close with my last case study because I want to go online here and show you how easy it is to book. But we had a manufacturer come to us and say, I want to drive warranty revenue for my dealers, right? Warranty is what's sold in F&I. And this ad, the click meant nothing because you couldn't buy this warranty online. The person had to see the ad and physically walk into a dealership and purchase this warranty. So they simply ran some ads explaining what the warranty was. Here are the results. They delivered ads to 191,000 owners in the Detroit DMA, and they sold 636 in 1 month, which was over double what they sold the year before, and the ROI was through the roof. So I'm going to end with this. I'm going to exit out of this screen, and then I'm going to pull up my Ads Manager for those of you that book your own buys through our DIY platform called Ads Manager. Here is the URL up at the top. It's simply facebook.com/adsmanager/manage. It will go to this screen if you have access to your page. But I'm just going to show you very quickly how easy it is to upload a CRM database. So for those of you that are familiar, you just simply click Create Campaign. It's going to take you to a screen that asks you for your objective. Anytime you run a CRM campaign, I'm going to highly suggest you use a reach objective. This will tell our system to go after 100% of the people that are in your database. I'm just going to click Continue because I want to focus on showing you how to upload. As we scroll down to build our audience, right here, you're going to see a section where it says Custom Audiences. If you click in the box, it's going to pull up all of my custom audiences, including customer lists that I've already uploaded. But if you want to add a new list, simply click Create New Custom Audience. A box will pull up right at the top. It'll say from Customer File. Click on Customer File. We do have an integration with MailChimp. If you don't use MailChimp, don't worry about it. But you want to add customers from your own file, simply do that, and boom. You have two ways to upload a custom a CRM file. You can click the Upload File, find it on your desktop, wherever it lives, right? Here would be my contacts. There you go. When I click Next, it will upload from that file. Or you can actually cut and paste. So if you have email address or phone numbers, you can simply drag on your spreadsheet, right-click, copy, and you can paste it right here in this section. Very easy to do. When we do this, I'll just show you how it works. Click Next. It's going to tell me how many events matched. It may say, hey, listen, before I start to match identifiers to profiles, can you just verify what each section of the website means? You just simply scroll down. If there's anything we don't know what it is, our system will simply ask for it, and you can always change it. So in here, this is just an email list. I would just click email. If these were phone numbers, but our system didn't pick up that it was phone numbers, you would just select phone number, and it would easily then match it. So don't worry about having a spreadsheet that automatically matches our screen. Simply click Upload, and boom. As you can see, it's all hashed. It will tell you how many rows were uploaded, and now you've got a custom audience ready to go. Again, think lease maturity lists, think equity mining, think service, sold not service, sold not service, service not sold. There's a number of them. So we have about 15 minutes, and I know I went very, very quick on that, but I do want to make sure we have the ability to answer any questions. So Kevin, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Thank you, Bob, so much. Thank you.
Do you want me to just open up the chat
Yeah,
Kevin?
you could, yeah, open it up. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's good, Bob.
So do you need both phone number and email, or just one or the other for Ads Manager? One or the other, or both. I'll go back because I think you can still see my screen. These are the identifiers that will help match accuracy. So email, phone number. Don't worry about mobile advertiser ID. Those are for apps that have code in there. But first name, last name, zip. The more you have, the stronger your match rate will be. But truthfully, the two number one identifiers are email and phone number. So if you only have one or the other or both, that's fine. Hopefully that answered your question, and thank you for that.
Hey, folks, any other questions out there? You can hit #6 or you can type it into chat, and Bob's available to answer your questions.
So the second question is, and it's a very good one, and I'm not going to have the greatest answer at the moment, so I apologize, but is there a contact email and phone number that a dealer or field team member can reach out for help getting started? We're a very small team at the moment. We're only 2 years old. My goal is to preferably work through Kevin and Chevrolet and General Motors. So I can do as many webinars as you need. Unfortunately, I'm a one-man show, so I can't personally take emails. Now, we do have online help. I will tell you our online help is very, very, very good. If you just go to facebook.com/help, I will guarantee you any situation that you're running into with our platform, somebody else or many others have already run into that problem. Simply do a search. I'll almost guarantee you will find the answer. I'll be strictly honest with you. Sometimes when I get questions or issues from the manufacturer emailed to me, that's the first place I go to find the answer. So know that our help file is very, very good.
Hey, Bob, can
Thanks,
you hear
Ken.
me right? Can you hear me right now, Bob?
I sure can.
Very good. Folks, any other questions? Again, chime in #6 or just type it into chat. This is being recorded, like I said. Please share it with your teammates at the dealerships, and we'll certainly provide support going forward to utilize this as part of our outbound strategy. More questions, chat or #6? Let us know.
So here's a question for you. Yes, Jeff asked a question privately, and I can do that for sure.
Good. Okay, Bob, I think we're good to go. Really want to take a moment to thank you for supporting the Philadelphia Chevrolet Zone with this presentation, and hopefully we have some more good things going on down the path. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for participating. Have a great day, and we're available for support anytime you need it. Thanks a lot. God bless
Thanks,
America.
everyone.
Go Chevrolet, baby.